MBE to step forward. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much indeed for having me here today for this very special occasion. I hope, looking at the boys and girls, that some of you know the story of Mark Wright and what he actually did and how he got the George Cross. You've been given some values by the head teacher. You should know those, I hope. And I'm going to confuse things a little bit by saying a little bit about our own values in the British Army. These are the values we ask our young men and women, and the older ones too, to think about and live by. And when I give you these values, have some careful thought about what Mark did on that day and the standards by which he lived his career. Selfless commitment, which means putting yourself at the bottom and working for other people, putting them first. So you might be suffering, but actually it's about other people who matter. Loyalty. So if you're going to decide that that person is your friend, or that you're going to follow that leader, you don't just give up on them when it gets tough, you stick with them. Honesty, so that people trust you and follow you. Discipline, which is doing what you should do even if no one's looking on a bad day. Okay. Courage, bravery, that thing where you have to screw yourself up inside, think very hard, do I want to do this? I really don't, but knowing it's the right thing to do and doing it anyway. And finally, respect for others, putting other people, understanding how they're feeling, how they're thinking, and working with them and making sure that you're not being horrible to them and that you're getting the best out of them. So think very hard. Those are the values we ask our soldiers to live by. And I think Mark, on that terrible day, was doing all of those values, we would say, in spades, shovel loads of it. I want to just also cover, folks, why we should remember what's important about the poppy when it actually comes from the First World War 120 years ago. What's it got to do with us? I hope most of the boys and girls understand that there is a war going on in Ukraine. It's very far away. It seems very far away. But for those of us in the armed forces, it's very real and very close. When you study the First World War and the Second World War, what you understand is how many young soldiers died in the service of their country. The sheer numbers must give us pause to thought before we get involved in wars. We should never go to war willingly. But the fact remains that sometimes we need to defend our way of life and what we believe in. And that means that sometimes we rely on some of us to stand forward and say, this is important, we'll protect you. And I'm very proud to serve in the armed forces, and I'm sure my comrades over here are too. And we're very proud that we're there when we need to do it. But some of us may get hurt, some of us may get killed, and those who are will need help later in life. And that is now and today. There are soldiers, ex-soldiers out there who need help because they put other people and the nation ahead of themselves and their needs. And I think it's only right that we support them. One final word: pride. I would hope that Mark would be very proud to see everybody gathered here, and I sincerely hope you, whether you're a pupil at Prestonfield Primary School, on the staff, family, whether you're veterans who served alongside Mark, or members of the Parachute Regiment who are part of that same team, feel very, very proud today for being part of this great event. Thank you.